is a James Beard Award nominated chef. He is an advocate for nourishing his community, and he was just on Chopped, so you can add national television star to that resume. But Omar Anani, the owner chef at Saffron de Troyes, he just competed on Chopped, and we found out the results last night. Go ahead and take a look.
Let's start with these tongues.
So we have a basket ingredient representing each region. Right. The lamb tongue represents the north. Large Middle Eastern population, very popular item. I'm gonna bet Omar, of all the competitors, has worked with lamb tongue before because of his Middle Eastern background.
Come on. Feel.
Omar, what's your master plan?
My plan is to just make a great crispy lamb taco. I feel like the food in the North is extremely undervalued. Winning this competition would showcase to everyone we have some of the most amazing food in the country. Yes, sir. Let's go, let's go.
Tamales is a beloved treat, and they come from the West. These are black bean.
I really want to do a black bean paste at the bottom of my taco. So I quickly peel the masa off the outside of the tamale and add some diced up apples from the Mile High Pie.
Did you get... All right, and so Omar Anani joins me now. I feel anxiety watching that for you. Do they like, here's cauliflower, limoncello, squid, and Twinkies. Open the basket and go for it. Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. As you know, with TV, there's so much editing that happens, but that's like the one component of the show that's really real. Like, you open your basket, you see your stuff, they cut, they remove the basket, and they're like, all right, ready, go. And so you really have 30, 40 seconds to conceptualize the dish in your head and make it happen. What
was some of the feedback from the judges, and then being able to be with your fellow contestants, because you guys are at a level which really is, it is when you watch it and you say, this is what you're able to put together in 20 minutes, it's amazing. Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and for me, it wasn't about competing with other people, it was about seeing how good I actually am at what I do, and seeing the dishes that they put out, it was so much fun for me. I went in with the mentality of, let's go cook, let's show people what we're all about and have a good time, and that's what we did. Yeah, so your place, Saffron de Troyes, is outstanding. I've been there, it's excellent, and the food community in Detroit is really an amazing one too. I think it's very, very connected, but for people who maybe don't know who you are and have not followed your journey, can you tell us why you even started to cook, and what was it in your background and in your home life that said, this is what I want to do? So for me, it's culture. Our culture is completely built around food, and when I had a very young age, I learned, I made a cupcake, I decorated it. In hindsight, it's probably the most ugly thing you've ever seen in your life. How old were you? I was like 5, 6 years old. I was jamming all my favorite candies into this cupcake. Because that's what would make it good. Exactly. And I was like, look, Mom. She goes, are you going to eat it? And I was like, I can't eat it. It's too pretty. And I remember taking that cupcake and giving it to my older sister and telling her I love her. And it's the first visible memory in my head of her smiling at me. So now, even at the age of 40, I can't look at a cupcake without thinking of my sister. Well, there's also the ultimate joy of preparing something. Food is love in a lot of places, and saying, look, this is what my effort was for you. Yeah, definitely. And that's what food does. It breaks barriers, it tells stories, creates emotion, and that's why I'm just so passionate about it. Talk to me about the food community here in Detroit and the chefs from a lot of the establishments. I know that you're close, you work together, you feed off of each other as well. Yeah, what you'll notice if you ever come here is Detroit's a really tight-knit community in terms of food. There's a lot of people doing zero waste stuff, there's a lot of people doing food rescue stuff. For us, we started Saffron Community Kitchen during the pandemic, and we fed over 110,000 meals in 2020 to people in need. Talk to me about that. Go backwards. So pandemic hits and you're like, wait a minute, we've got to do something. Yeah, so we started feeding hospital workers because they were just transitioned into COVID centers and they didn't have cafeterias and they didn't have the infrastructure to feed these people who were there all these long hours taking care of patients. So we took food to hospitals, and then we started to feed restaurant workers who were just displaced from work. And I decided to start feeding people at the restaurant, of people in need. People were fighting over toilet paper. So it was funny. At first, we were like, we have so much toilet paper. Let's give people a meal and a roll of toilet paper. And I remember the first day it was like 10 people, 15 people.
And then you blinked and all of a sudden we were doing 1,400 meals a day out of the restaurant. And it was just insane how much people did not have access to food.
Let me ask you this, though, because this was also a very stressful time for restaurant owners who could not make a living, or who were having to all of a sudden transition their business to carry out if they had never done that before. The last thing that many business owners, I would think, would say, oh, no, I'm going to step up and create an entire new giving network or change my business model to give when I'm struggling myself.
What you'll find is people, specifically chefs, chefs who are restaurant owners, we're the most resilient people on the face of the planet.
Why do you think that is?
I think it's the adaptations that have to happen in a kitchen of this guy didn't show up, or hey, we don't have this ingredient, we have this ingredient, figure it out. And that constant need to be able to adapt and overcome, it's just ingrained in us. And when the pandemic came, it was the same thing. It was, hey, how do we adapt, overcome? And everyone did it in a different way. And I swear, if I hear the word pivot one more time.
I know, we all hate it, don't we? In these unprecedented times, we need to pivot.
Yes, yes, exactly. So, we started this community kitchen, and now what we're trying to do is give people a monochrome of privacy. No one wants to come in and ask for a meal. It's very, and so to build this refrigerator in the parking lot where people can come take a meal without being watched, without having to ask for, do any of that stuff, it's really, really important. So that is the focus right now. That's what we're raising money for. We started a Launch Good platform. You can donate at launchgood.com/SCK2023.
Good. We'll make sure that that's on clickondetroit.com, and there we're putting it on the screen right now.
Wonderful.
So people have an idea of where they can go to help you out.
We're over halfway there. We want to be able to feed the community. That's the main thing, right? And take what would normally not get thrown away in a restaurant.
Right.
Food waste in America is so atrocious. If we could just take that and put it in boxes and feed people, no one would be hungry, and that's the goal.
And I think that that's the dual path. We all enjoy, people enjoy a fine dining experience or an experiential, thing where they can do, it's a special moment for our families. And there's a lot of new restaurants that pop up around here where people come in and they leave. But I think bringing the community into it and saying, no, we're not just feeding and you leave. This is something that you can be a part of because there's more to it, is valuable.
Yes, definitely, of course. We operate by 5 core values, and community is the most important one. Sustainability is another, and you see all these restaurants, they open and close so quickly, right? Mm-hmm. And so how do we, as a community, make sure that our restaurants stay? I mean, how often do you see a restaurant pops up in your head like, this place is amazing, it's so good, and then they closed, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, wait a minute, what happened? I love that place. And we need to support each other and support our communities and support our local businesses in order for them to flourish and stay for generations, rather than stopping at the fast food joint.
Let me ask you about the national spotlight. So obviously you're on Chopped, great experience, a lot of unbelievable national exposure, but you've also been nominated for 2 years, James Beard nominee in 22 and in 23. What is that like when the national spotlight turns to you? Has this been difficult to navigate or interesting?
No, actually it's something that is great for me personally, but in a different way. For me, I use it as a platform to shine a light on all the work that we do, right? If I can talk about, hey, these are all the problems in our industry. People are being overworked. People are getting tipped wages, which was created from when we abolished slavery, right? Oh, we don't want to pay them. Let's just create tipped wages. It wasn't until the 1930s we put a $2 minimum on tipped wages, and it's only gone up $1 since then. Who can live off of $3 an hour, mm-hmm. right? And I remember there were times where I was working tipped wages coming up in this industry, and I didn't have enough money to eat food, and how humiliating that was to have to, go to mom, like, hey mom, can I get some money to eat food? It just
and you're working your butt off too.
Exactly. And these are the things that need to change. And so these awards are great, but what they really allow me to do is say, hey, we have a problem. How do we fix it? That's the platform that James Beard allows us to do. That's the platform that Chopped allows us to do. That's the platform that TV in general allows us to do.
Yeah. What would you say to people to remember when they have a restaurant experience and when they're going out to eat?
Honestly, for me, when I go out to eat personally, it's about the experience. Am I having a good time? Being gracious to the people who are hosting us in their space. The term hospitality is, I think it's lost over, we're a service country, right? Everything is service industry now. And so when you look at hospitality in Arabic, it's Hasan ad-Dayafa, which literally translates to giving your good deeds to your guests to make them feel welcome, good deeds that you collect to get into the afterlife. And in Greek, it means, the literal word for hospitality means friends with strangers, right? And breaking bread and having good, so whenever I go out to eat, it's all about, hey, let me put my phone away, let me actually be engaged with the person I'm eating with, let me take in the experience as a whole and enjoy that.
What are some things that maybe we could see on the menu next, or what are the things that you think about? I mean, as you develop these initiatives for the community, what's next for you in terms of when you say, 5 years from now?
Oh, man, that's such a long time from now. I think
it is a long time from now. What am I doing next week? I don't know what I did yesterday.
Yeah. What did I have for breakfast this morning?
I know.
5 years from now, I would say the goal would be to rebuild our community, specifically right around Saffron des Trois, and to really focus in on, we don't have population density in Detroit, and we don't have, we do have housing problems. There's houses everywhere, but there's no place for people to live. So how do we create that in our neighborhood? Whether it's, you'll see there's some neighborhoods that are offering free internet to the residents of their neighborhoods. There's some neighborhoods that are doing these types of initiatives and using the restaurant as a community hub rather than just a place you come to eat. That's the goal in the next 5 years.
Omar Anani from Saffron des Trois, thanks so much for joining us. And you know what? You didn't need to win Shocked. Your food's outstanding.
Thanks you so much.
Thanks for being with us. All right, we're going to continue to watch what you're doing too.
Thank you.
All right.